These 10-minute segments really are, they creep up on me sometimes. Welcome back to part 5, 4, something like that. We're talking about the way to really punish these heinous offenders of, take a guess. What do you think I'm talking about? I mean, fuck. I haven't come on since Alex Preddy was executed. That's how long it's been. I needed to reframe my mind. I needed to get in the right spot where I could put the right message out there. I didn't know what I felt. I know I felt. I was angry. I was furious, frustrated. I'm not seeing any justice being done. What justice am I looking for? What's my part in it? What do I want to do? What do I feel empowered to do? Obviously, I'm not in Minnesota, so I can't just go out and join the march. And in my town, no one else is marching, so I'm not going to be a single guy standing on a corner, even though I've seen footage of that, and more power to those people who are standing out there solo with a sign. I mean, that takes fucking courage, and I love that. But I wasn't about to do that. So what is my part in it? I can just prepare. I can get ready for the resistance. Let's ride, all this stuff. Let's form an angry mob sort of a thing. And all of these things that I'm thinking in my mind, and I can't get over it. All these new things that are coming out about the files, and all the denial that's happening, and the victims, and it's entrapment. It's meant to entrap people's energy. It's meant to entrap your soul into the constant loop of desire for seeing the punitive damage. You want punishment. You want damage to happen to these people. You heard about what they've done, and you want the amount of pain that they've inflicted to be worse for them than. But what I was talking about towards the end of my last one is that's actually what they want for themselves. Underneath it all, as much as they are powerful, billionaire, lavish lives and lives of comfort and leisure and luxury, what they truly hate themselves inside. They hate their existence. And the only thing that can make them feel alive is by doing that to other living forms of consciousness. Like to see, like in Fight Club, when he said, I just felt like destroying something beautiful. That's what it is, that right there. And so that's what keeps them alive, is by destroying something beautiful. They have that ravenous desire in their hearts because they were hurt. They feel like they're unworthy of organic love, natural love, to come from. Like, they need to see the source of it. They need to understand where it's coming from in order to understand that they are deserving of it. They need to be able to afford it, right? They need to be able to purchase the love that they seek. But what they don't know is that they'll never experience the love that they're seeking, because it's something that you don't purchase. It comes organically. It comes from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. Like, they can't see the source of the love that they seek because they can't comprehend that any love could come from those places for them. So they feel the need to purchase it. That's why a lot of times they become billionaires, because they figure, what amount of money will purchase me the love that I seek? Because they feel unlovable. What would be the greatest punishment to them? Now, the patriarchy. Now, we've gone into all of this in previous videos, but just to summarize, 4:44 on the clock, I just happened to look up. The patriarchy has trained us to seek the opposite of what is healing, or what is going to be positive in an outcome. A negative, very negative outcome would be you inflict the same amount of pain that they've inflicted on others as a punishment for what they've done. That's the old way. That's the centuries old punishment of torture and all this stuff. And everyone is talking about bring back the old school punishments and bring back all this stuff as a deterrent. And, you know, all these threatening harm and punitive damage if you're bad. If you do something we don't like, we're gonna hurt you. That's the patriarchy speaking right there. That's training 101 for the patriarchy. That's the programs that we've been programmed to believe that that is justice and that is the way. But truly, what is the most positive outcome that could happen is that we seek healing for these people. And in doing that is actually the inverse of what they want. See, right now they want us to want the worst harm to happen to them. And the ha 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 got you moment is them seeing us being disappointed because we're not seeing the harm that we desire to happen to them. We're not seeing it. Where is it? No one's prosecuting them. No one's ringing them up on charges. The worst offender is still calling the shots in our country. And it's driving a lot of people absolutely insane right now. And the reason being is because we cannot fight the patriarchy with patriarchal values and ways. We can't learn something from the patriarchy and then try to claim like we're better than this patriarchy, but yet also do things that the patriarchy taught us. No, you know, if we're gonna ascend and transcend this patriarchy, we need to embrace the matriarchal way of supporting life and healing from things, which in my first video I talked right out of the gate about forgiveness, because I haven't been seeing very much being said these days about forgiveness. And that's where we need to be right now, is in a place of seeking forgiveness. And where does forgiveness start? It starts within. It starts within the person that was harmed, like the victim of the trauma. And we've all done, you know, I know you're not a victim of the SA and you're not in the files, but you have undergone some trauma. Just acknowledge it and hold it there. Like, from what you've seen, what you're seeing happening as a result of it, and what you're imagining in your mind, those files made your mind go there. That's trauma. It made you acknowledge that stuff is happening. That's trauma. I'm not going to get into details, even though I could. That's all trauma. Just don't even think about it, because it's just bringing up more trauma. Just hold it, acknowledge it, and realize that this isn't you. Whether or not it happened to you, and realize that releasing it is the only way to move past it and not be engulfed by it. Now, take the trauma and understand the inflictor, the perpetrator that did this trauma to someone. We're already coming up on 10 minutes, so why don't I just call it here, and we'll start number 6 in the next one. I'll see you there. Never stop spreading your light. I love you. Check out my first ones. This is number 6. And a lot of you don't, because I see how many people watch my videos and I see where the numbers are the highest. Maybe some of you are watching the full series, but please check out my previous ones. This is a continuation. This isn't YouTube. I have to split these up into 10-minute segments, and they're all 10 minutes, trust me. So buckle in, sit down for a while, just start scrolling through, and you'll hear my voice for 10 minutes, then scroll to the next one. It's not going to be... And what is it with TikTok now that all these repeating, like every 15 seconds, like I can't put on a TikTok, set it down, and start washing dishes, because by the time I get my hands wet, it's repeating itself already. Like, what the fuck? Can't you do some longer form content? Like, come on. You got 10 minutes, people. You can make it longer than 15 seconds. Anyway, and another thing that triggered these videos today, it's been a while since I came on. Haven't come on since Alex Preddy, because I had to reframe my thoughts on things. But even the TikTok transition, I did release some videos on there. In between there, I was mostly bitching about the new algorithm. The algorithm has changed even more so. Last night was absolutely disgusting. I'm up late. I'm frustrated. I don't know. The energy was weird. It was chaotic energy. I'm up late. I'm scrolling. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing all these very sexual TikToks. Like stuff that should be illegal. Like, just wrong. Like, it's trying to... I don't... They're AI, and they're meant to generate feelings of lust for the very same behavior that we seek punishment in right now. They want us to want punishment for these people because it's an inverse. If we are desiring punishment for these people, that means that if we're desiring harm, like punitive damage, because the punishment that we've been taught is righteous, the punishment we feel that they should righteously befall them is a product of patriarchal teaching. Like, what we've been taught by the patriarchy to believe is just, and just that the word justice in itself feels patriarchal. But the punishment that a lot of us are seeking right now is the harm, is ultimate harm. And the problem with that is that getting caught up in that, for one, we know it's not going to go down that way. We're not bringing out guillotines. We're not talking old school torture or anything like that. Even though I've heard that called for. Confirmation burps at 3:23. If they can trap our energy and our souls into this cycle of seeking patriarchal harm and not seeing it, getting frustrated, more frustrated, and then coming back around and seeking harm, and it's just a constant loop for our energy. It doesn't allow us freedom. It doesn't allow us transcendence or ascendance. So as long as they can keep us trapped in that, and trapped in this cycle of imagine if we could get our hands on one of the most evil ones and actually bring him the justice that's in our hearts. You know, in a lot of superhero movies, what do they say? That, like, getting your revenge isn't going to bring your lost loved ones back, or whatever. They always say the revenge isn't going to heal you. The healing starts within. So, like, seeking revenge, seeking the justice, seeking the punitive damage, seeking any kind of harm to the monsters, the beast, the absolute. You know, I don't acknowledge evil anymore, even though it's such an exchangeable term, interchangeable term. These days, I'm getting seriously uncomfortable sitting here. I don't say evil anymore, but, you know, essentially that's what I mean. That's not what I mean, but if you were to classify, like, just a general, you know, bad activity, you could say there's no good and bad, and all these different ways to construct duality. But essentially, the beast, you see it for what it is because they've revealed themselves to you, and they want you to want the worst to happen to them. And in that, they keep you trapped. But the forgiveness, the release, like calling your energy back from that loop of entrapment, is forgiveness. Forgiveness for yourself, feeling it inside, like you forgive yourself for being duped by him, being tricked, being put in this situation that we're all in right now. You forgive yourself for being in the situation where you're not also a billionaire, or where you're a slave to the capitalist system in wherever you end up on that capitalist pyramid that we've talked about. You forgive yourself for all that. You come back with a state of love for everything, yourself and others, and you see even the beast itself is capable of being loved, because you understand that at one point that beast was also vulnerable, and that beast was also traumatized and hurt in some way. You recognize that it's the trauma of that beast that makes him inflict trauma on others. It's the knowledge that because he does not see himself as human is where his desire to dehumanize others comes from. And so you understand that now there is a potential for healing in that. There's not a deserving of pain and punitive damage. What he's deserving of is healing and supporting life, bringing it forward into the new matriarchy, and not seeking this patriarchal, punitive, damaging repercussions for these actions. The ultimate thing that we could do, what would piss them off the worst and actually torture them every last day that they have left on this planet, would be to give them the love that they never felt they deserved. That would heal them. That would be the absolute worst outcome for them. Take away all of their power, every single bit of it. They don't ever get to harm a single another living animal, let alone human, let alone anything more vulnerable or anything like that. Not even someone of the same strength or whatever of them. They're cut off. They're in a padded cell. But they're in a place of healing where they can't even harm themselves. They can't harm others. They just get to sit there and feel our love for keeping them alive and healthy and well, and wishing the best for them, wishing the healing for them. Because in that, you'll find healing for yourself. Be able to recall that energy back to yourself and release it, let it go. That's the first step of a healing journey, and healing from a trauma is releasing it, letting it go, rising above it, ascending. That's what we need to do. Forgiveness. Not enough people are talking about it. I might come back for another one. I see we're almost at 10 minutes. Thank you for joining me for this one. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you. Hi, welcome back. This is either 7 or 8. The healing journey of ascension. It starts with forgiveness. It starts with letting go, with releasing. Not enough people, as of late, are talking about forgiveness, and understandably so. No one is really going to automatically default to forgiveness at this time. We've seen too much. They've revealed a lot of themselves, and it's by design. They want us to feel unforgiving. They want us to be trapped in the emotional trap magnet of seeking punitive damage. rather than seeking healing for them. To seek healing for them would be to acknowledge that they are deserving of it. And in order to be deserving of it, it means that we can't have hatred for them. And to not be able to have hatred for them means that we have to, in some way, is that annoying? I'm sorry. It's probably been like that for several videos, and the OCD people are like wanting to inflict their own brand of... Sorry it took me so long to get that for people who also suffer from OCD. You're probably not even watching at this point anymore if you are, but thank you if you are. And anyway, they would want nothing more than for us to be caught in a emotional loop, spending our emotional currency of loosh on this never-ending trap of seeking harm, physical harm and punitive damage and all these things for these people, and not getting it. We're not getting answers, we're not getting any sort of acknowledgement of any wrong. We're actually getting flat-out denial, and we're seeing, justifiably so, other nations taking this more seriously and actually doing something about it. But we're also seeing how deep this thing really goes. We're tracing it back to certain countries that we never, or I should say countries, that we never thought would be this involved in it. It's so deep and so encompassing that it's actually sort of a trap in itself, in a way. Not to mention the fact that even just seeking the punitive damage and harm, the eye for an eye, speaking of eye, I had to look at the time because I'm like, wow, that's kind of... Anyway, seeking the eye for the eye is not the way. That's the false, that's the inversion that the patriarchy creates, is thinking that that is a brand of justice, that is justice served, eye for an eye sort of thing. It's not. It's, we need to seek healing and support life and support moving forward. Healing means building and growing from it, not destroying what is there as a result of, bad actions, threatening bad actions on people. People have said we need to bring back the cruel and unusual stuff that'll keep people from doing these things. No, it won't. No, it won't. It'll just make people smart enough to not get caught. That's all it's going to do. Is the people that want to do it, they'll just make sure that they'll either won't get caught or they're going to make peace with the punishment ahead of time. That's it. It's not going to prevent this stuff from happening. It might make less of it happen, but it won't eradicate it from the earth. The way to eradicate it is to embrace it with the love that it needs. Because in a world of narcissism, that's where love is scarce and it's devoid of love. Love is what wins. Love is what source consciousness is. And so when we can show something, when we can see something that is needing love, and we can give it the love, that is source, that is divine. That's the divine work. So that's working light working. So by now, if you have seen my previous videos, you'll realize that this is a never-ending thing, that this just keeps going around and around. We're trapped in a cycle. We need to embrace forgiveness. In order to move on from this, and it's going to be hard. It's hard. Like any healing journey takes a certain amount of emotional regulation and emotional intelligence in order to be able to hold something and not feel into it. Like, I purposely have not brought up specifics because that just brings up anger and rage instantly. Like, I can feel the energy just come right down as soon as I bring even one thing up, just as an example. I'm not bringing up any examples because we know what's in it. We know what they've done. We know that it was also years upon years ago, a lot of this stuff. And that it's coming out now, yes, but also, like, not to get entrapped by what's currently happening, but what is currently happening that we're not supposed to be paying attention to, that maybe we should. And if we were, we would be able to be not retroactively, but proactively preventing, if we weren't so caught up and entrapped by this little soul trap that they've released on the public. They need to reveal to us what their true nature, and they have. And they want us to get trapped by that in the karma of just the anger that it generates. Because anger is ultimately fear. Fear from what? We need to understand, why are we feeling anger towards this president? What are we fearing? Love allows us to not have fear. So embracing the love, understanding that even in the darkest beast was vulnerable at some point, understanding that that vulnerable baby at one time was also hurt. He was also traumatized, inflicted the worst trauma on. And understanding that that entity too is a spark of source. It's within us all. Understanding that there is also healing that needs to be done for that person. Punishment would only bring on karma onto you. Expecting any sort of punitive damage to teach them a lesson, any sort of pain, is only going to bring karma onto you. And also, they're not going to learn from that. They want that from themselves. They don't feel, they hate themselves. They don't feel entitled to or deserving of actual love. And when they're shown it, the darkness fades. It cannot survive where there is the light of love. Coming up on 10 minutes again. Thank you for joining me for this one. Check out my previous ones if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. And until then, never stop spreading your light. I love you.